You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk, and I thought I was done talking about this. I thought this was all settled when Governor Andrew Cuomo of this state said, after Butch Goring got his number retired, that the Islanders were going to play at Nassau Coliseum for all their home games for 2020, 2021, and then 2021 to 2022 and beyond would be the Belmont Arena. I thought I was done talking about this garbage about where the Islanders would play next. But I'm not. Because Mikhail Prokhorov, the man who owns the lease to the Coliseum, and former Brooklyn Nets owner, by the way, and he was an interesting owner, wanted to win more than anything. Can't ask for much more than that. But he just didn't do it the right way with the Pearson-Garnett trade. That man is closing the Coliseum indefinitely. And the company that owns the Coliseum, Nexum Sports and Entertainment, which is Prokhorov's company, is seeking investors to take over the building and to assume all the debt on the building. You know how much debt is on the Nassau Coliseum? $100 million. Firstly, I don't even know how you accumulate $100 million in debt and stay open. I don't even understand how you can accumulate that much debt in the first place. I mean, I'm not sure about all the inner workings that go into running an arena, but $100 million in debt? You've got to be kidding me. I hate to break it to Mikhail Prokhorov and everyone else involved in this. Laura Curran, who's the Nassau County executive, Scott Reckler, the CEO of RXR Realty, which partnered with Onexum in redeveloping the Coliseum, but no one is going to be that stupid to take on $100 million in debt when the only major sports team that arena has, I don't want to hear about lacrosse. All right, lacrosse isn't going to pay the bills. I don't want to hear about the Long Island Nets. They can't give away tickets to those games. Believe me, I know. When the only major sports team playing there is going to move in 2 years, no one is going to take on that debt. No one is going to take on that lease. They're going to have to redraw the lease. It's just that simple. But Nassau County won't want to do it. Nassau County has never, ever supported the Coliseum. It's been that way for over 20 years. That arena was falling apart in the 90s. Alan Hahn told the story in Big Shot that John Spano 30 for 30, where the roof was leaking. So it was raining inside the Coliseum. And this was in the mid-90s. That thing was patched together with bubble gum and baling wire. Believe me, I know. I don't know how much I can say legally, but I'm telling you, I know more about this than a lot of people. There was asbestos on the roof. The lights were so old at the Coliseum that they were the only arena in the NHL that needed to hand power the lights. They weren't electronic. I mean, now it changed with the redevelopment, but they were so stupid with the redevelopment. All they did was just give it a facelift. They literally put lipstick on a pig. That's all they did. That's literally it. They gave it a fresh coat of paint. They added some new concession stands. I like what they did with the food options. Bringing in Long Island restaurants like Vincent's and Smokin' Owl's. Great. I like that. I mean, back in the old days of the Coliseum, there was only one good restaurant, and it was downstairs. It was the barbecue place. We'd always get a sandwich and the fried pickles. Those fried pickles were really good. But they didn't widen the walkways. They didn't add seats. They took away seats. They literally took away seats. I mean, for the longest time, there was this game of chicken between Charles Wang and Nassau County. A lot of Islander fans put the blame on Kate Murray, who was the supervisor of the town of Hempstead. Nassau Coliseum is located in the town of Hempstead. A lot of people put the blame on her. It wasn't all her. Okay, it just wasn't. It wasn't all Tom Swazi, who was county executive for a little bit of the Lighthouse Project. It wasn't Ed Mangano, who was county executive for a little bit of the Lighthouse Project. You know, Charles Wang wanted to build up that area so much, it would have been a nightmare traffic-wise. You would have had these two monolithic structures on either side of Hempstead Turnpike. You would have backed up traffic up the wazoo. I mean, as someone who lives close to there, I'm telling you, there's no way that was going to work. And then they do that stupid referendum in the summer when no one's paying attention. Of course it fails. They didn't have time to get out the vote. They didn't have time to get the message across. And then the Islanders moved to Brooklyn. A lot of people put that on Kate Murray. It wasn't all her fault. Did she deserve some of the blame? Yeah. But so does Charles Wang. This guy wanted a stupid 60-foot tower to look like a lighthouse. I mean, who the hell is that for? What purpose does that serve? Why would you want to build a new hotel? You have the Marriott right next door. Why would you want to build a minor league baseball stadium? Who does that serve? The stupidity about this was unreal. Neither side blinked. Charles Wang was forced to move the team to Brooklyn. And that's where the Islanders are going to end up going. According to the lease, now that the Coliseum is being closed, when the NHL picks up, all right? When the NHL picks up and everyone's allowed to play in their home stadiums and we don't have hub cities, the Islanders are going to be back in the Barclays Center. They're seriously going to be back at the Barclays Center. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this up. We were done with Brooklyn. We were done. That's why Governor Cuomo came out after Corbin got his number retired. No one wants the Islanders at the Barclays Center. Not even the Barclays Center. I mean, this is just a cruel joke. This is just a cruel joke. Oh, but Jacob, it's only for 1 year. You're being overdramatic. No, I'm not. You really think that Belmont's going to be built in time for 2021, 2022? They stopped construction for 2 months. 2 months! They're going to have to hustle their bustles if they want to get this thing done by 21-22. Let's see if the Islander fans hold Laura Curran responsible for this. I understand that this isn't really her fault. I mean, the reason this is happening is because of the coronavirus. All arenas were shut down. That arena was losing money on a good day. I mean, you don't rack up $100 million in debt and still make money. I mean, that just doesn't work. If you were making money, you wouldn't need to take out all those loans, right? Let's see if the Islander fans hold her responsible. They held Kate Murray responsible when she was not the whole reason that the Islanders moved. I mean, I remember sitting on a train going home from the Barclays Center for an Islander game. This guy stood up and implored the whole car not to vote for Kate Murray. Hand to God, that really happened. It wasn't all her fault. Wong wouldn't compromise. Ed Mangano didn't do a good job with it. Tom Swazi didn't do a good job with it. No one did a good job with it. There was no way that thing was going to get done, the Lighthouse Project. That was doomed to fail from the start. God, I remember the promotional videos they'd play before Islander games. Meet me at the Lighthouse and don't forget your smile. We're going to do it Long Island style. Oh my God, gag me with a spoon. It would have been nice if the Islanders stayed at the Coliseum. But no one thought Wong would move the team. Well, he was forced to move the team. He had no choice. And you know, that's the thing with the Islander fans that don't like the Barclays Center. I'm with you. Alright, I don't like going to the Barclays Center either. But without them, the Islanders are in Kansas City. Or Quebec. Or Hartford. Or somewhere else. At least the Barclays Center stepped up and took them for a little bit. Now, that arena was not built for hockey. I worked on a document that was submitted to Ed Mangano, former Nassau County executive, saying why the Islanders would not move to the Barclays Center. The primary reason was that the arena wasn't built for hockey. The sight lines would have been terrible. It would have been the smallest arena in the NHL. At this time, I don't think we knew about the MTS Center. I know they added seats to the Barclays Center when the Islanders moved. I mean, I seriously worked on that document. I mean, I remember where I was when I found out the Islanders were going to move to Brooklyn. I was happy they moved to Brooklyn. I was happy to be wrong. It was either that or Kansas City. That's what I kept telling people. You may not like having to go into Brooklyn, but, you know, at least you're keeping your team. They're not moving. They're not moving, I think it's 2 time zones over. I mean, I was in high school. I was in 9th grade or 10th grade. One of those two. I got the news on my phone. I was so happy that day. Because I was keeping my team. And of course, we all know how it ended. It was a joke. Barclays Center wasn't built for hockey. It should have been built for hockey. I don't know who made the decision to build that arena only for basketball. I don't know who made that call, but that person is one of the biggest idiots on the face of the earth. And the Islander fans, oh my God. The fans saying, oh, I'm not going to go to the games, it's too inconvenient. Shut your damn mouths and go! MetLife Stadium, where the Jets and Giants play, is in East Rutherford, New Jersey. If you don't know anything about East Rutherford, New Jersey, I'll tell you, it's a hard place to get to. Getting there by train is a nightmare. Getting there by bus is no picnic. Driving there is no picnic. But the Jets and Giants sell out every damn game, and those teams suck. You know why they sell out? Because they're good fans. Jets fans are good fans. Giants fans are good fans. They don't care if the team is bad. They go. They don't care if it's in the middle of nowhere. They go. I understand weeknight games, you don't go. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. Weekend games, you suck it up and get your ass to Brooklyn. Anyone who refused to go to the games at the Barclays Center is a fake Islander fan. I'm telling you, worst fans in sports. New York Islander fans are the worst fans in all of sports. I am so ashamed to be a part of that fan base after seeing the stunts they pull. This arena steps up and saves your team. We're not going to support them. I understand that they were treated like second-class citizens. I'm with you there. No one knows it better than me. But the reason that you were treated like second-class citizens was because of the resentment you had for it. Everyone in that building knew you didn't want to be there. You can go on my Twitter page, @RealJacobValk, and you will see sections upon sections empty. And these are weekend games. Look, Barclays Center staff did not accept Islander fans either. And I remember reading an article. I don't remember who wrote it, but it's partially true, or at least it may be true. The majority of hockey fans are white. The majority of workers at the Barclays Center are black. There may be that divide there. It's a different crowd. A basketball crowd is different than a hockey crowd. I mean, I remember when the Barclays Center staff wouldn't let someone film the Jumbotron from somewhere that wasn't their seat. They weren't bothering anyone. And then a fight broke out. People would go down the aisles willy-nilly. Wouldn't matter if the puck was in play or not. It would get to the point that my father and I would say, no, you're going to wait until the puck stops. Hand to God, we really did that. And we do that for baseball sometimes, too. I understand that Barclays Center didn't roll out the red carpet for the Islanders. But Islanders fans didn't accept it either. You know, just shut up and deal with it. Shut up and go. You want a new arena? Fine. But until you get it, this arena saved you from having to go to Kansas City to watch your team play. Maybe they'd have been better off going to Kansas City. That way I could become a Ranger fan and I wouldn't have to deal with this garbage. All in all, this whole thing is a joke. I don't know if Prokhorov would have been better off just waiting out the storm. I mean, there's a real chance that the Islanders don't play at the Coliseum in the 2021 season. Dr. Fauci said that there's a chance the coronavirus flares back up in October. If it does, we're getting hub cities again, or we're getting no sports again. So if your only major tenant, again, I don't want to hear about lacrosse in the G League. If your only tenant may not be there again, yeah, you probably have to shut it down. But if there is no second wave, if fans are allowed back in, it's going to be in Brooklyn for at least one more year. And Islander fans better suck it up and go. Quit complaining and support your team. Jets and Giants fans go out to East Rutherford, New Jersey every Sunday. It's a lot harder to get to East Rutherford than it is Brooklyn. I promise you that. I mean, it depends on where you're coming from, obviously. But there aren't too many Islander fans in New Jersey. There aren't too many Islander fans upstate. There's a reason they're called the Islanders. They're Long Island's team. From Long Island. Any part of Long Island. The geographical area of Long Island. It's a lot easier to get to Brooklyn than it is East Rutherford. Suck it up and support your team wherever they play. Go. Buy a ticket. Have a good time. And shut your damn mouths, you fake Islander fans. Part of the reason why this fan base is so blasted terrible. Speaking of the Giants, they're in the news again because one of their players did something stupid, allegedly. There's really no big update on DeAndre Baker. Actually, the latest is that he may get off scot-free. Evidently, the witnesses are changing their tunes. I don't know what's going to happen, but he got lucky. I'll tell you that. The witnesses could have lied and said, hey, something happened. If nothing really happened, very possible the witnesses could have lied and carried this on. That happens. But the latest is good news for him. I don't know if that's what's going to ultimately end up happening, but it's possible he gets off scot-free. But the Giants are back in the news because their kicker, Aldrich Rosas, was arrested after an alleged hit-and-run in California when he T-boned another car while possibly being drunk, going 100 miles per hour. Also, according to the story from TMZ, Rosas' hands, legs, and feet were covered in blood. You know, I don't know what ultimately happened in California that day, but I'll tell you. Oh, God, you can't make this up. How do the Giants keep finding themselves in this position? Rosas, Baker, Valentine. I understand that was wrong place, wrong time, but still, it's not a good look for the organization. Jason Pierre-Paul. Hell, even the best player in their franchise's history, Lawrence Taylor, was suspended for failing drug tests. He did cocaine. He's admitted that. It's a joke with the Giants. You know, the Giants like to carry themselves as this franchise with a rich history and, you know, you got to be clean cut. You got to be a Boy Scout to be here. They're not that team. They're no different than any other team. Kyle Lauletta. Remember that name, Giants fans? Kyle Lauletta out of Richmond was very close to taking over for Eli Manning when he was charged with resisting arrest, along with a whole host of other things. And because of that, he never started a game in the NFL. What an idiot. You hire this coach, Joe Judge, a no-name. No one's ever heard of him. You hire him because he reminds you of Tom Coughlin, and he preaches old-school football, this disciplinarian stuff. Meanwhile, in his first offseason as Giants head coach, he has two of these incidents, Baker and Rosas. You can't make this up. This is such a bad look for Judge. This is a bad look for Gettleman. This is a bad look for the Giants. It doesn't matter if these guys are cleared of everything. The point is, you're still accused of this stuff. That specter is still hovering over them. I mean, to the NFL, it doesn't matter if you're guilty or not. You can still be punished. We've seen that before. You escape criminal charges or civil charges, but you still get suspended by the league or fined by the league. This is such a joke. It's not even funny. There were Giants fans calling for Rosas' head before this even happened. I mean, after a Pro Bowl season 2 years ago, Rosas misses 5 field goals and 4 extra points. And he was missing, kicks that you'd expect a kicker to make. Last year, he only went 1 for 4 on field goals that were 40 to 49 yards out. If you're an NFL kicker coming off a Pro Bowl year, you have to make those. This guy only made 12 field goals last year. He had a 70.6% field goal percentage. After this, how does he survive? How do the Giants not bring in competition for him? I mean, you've got guys like Steven Gostkowski and Ryan Suckup still out there. If you're the Giants, how do you not bring them in? I understand before this you want to give your former Pro Bowler another chance, but after this, how do you not make a move? I mean, Gostkowski used to kick for Joe Judge with the Patriots. He'd make perfect sense. I understand he got hurt last year. He wasn't that good in extra points, but it makes sense to bring him in. He's one of the best kickers in NFL history. Ryan Suckup got hurt last year too, but in the past he's been a solid kicker. I understand you're not going to find any, great kickers. There's no Greg Zuerlein out there. There's no Justin Tucker out there right now. But if you're the Giants, you have to bring in another kicker. Let's even say that Rosas is going to be cleared of everything. This was all a crazy misunderstanding. Give the guy some competition. He was garbage last year. I mean, the Giants have the money to do it. They have $16.5 million in cap space. They can save a little over $3 million by cutting Rosas. I say do it. Cut him now. Sign Gostkowski or Suckup. Send a message. Say that this kind of stuff is unacceptable to the Giants. If you're really dead set on bringing back that old school Giants mentality that never really existed in the first place, I mean, maybe it did back when Frank Gifford played, but not in the past 30 some odd years. If you want to bring back the old school Giant days of Frank Gifford and Y.A. Tittle and Steve Owen, you'll cut Rosas now. It's an absolute joke. I do want to talk about a death that happened on Saturday, but it wasn't reported until yesterday. And that is the death of Mike McCormick. Mike McCormick was one of the best pitchers in Giants history. He wasn't better than Christy Mathewson. He wasn't better than Carl Hubble. He wasn't better than Juan Marichal, but let me tell you, you can make the argument for McCormick being in your top 10 of best Giants pitchers of all time. He was a bonus baby. The Giants gave him $50,000, so he didn't go to college, and he went straight to the major leagues. It took him a while to really hit his stride. His first full season in the majors was 1958. 56 and 57 he did play in the majors, but he only pitched a little over 81 innings those 2 years combined. His first full year, 58, he went 11-8 with a 4.59 ERA. That's not that good. But he was 19 years old. That's to be expected that you're not going to be great right away. In 59, McCormick went 12-16 with a 3.99 ERA, pitched over 225 innings, and pitched 7 complete games. In that year, and I did not know this, so thank you, Wikipedia, on June 12th, he had a no-hitter going through 5 innings. In the 6th inning, McCormick gave up a hit. But the game was rained out in that 6th inning, so the game was called. McCormick was credited with a no-hitter. Until 1991, that is, when it was ruled that no-hitters must last at least 9 innings to count. That rule was retroactively applied to McCormick, so technically, he never pitched a no-hitter. 1960 was his second best season. He went 15-12, pitched 253 innings and 15 complete games with a 2.7 ERA that led the National League, and he made 2 All-Star teams that year. And he followed it up in 1961 by going 13-16 with a 3.2 ERA, pitched 250 innings, 13 complete games, but he made 2 All-Star teams. Thankfully, that experiment was stopped in 1962. So stupid. I actually don't know why they did that. 2 All-Star teams. In 62, the injury bug started to bite McCormick. He pitched less than 100 innings that year, was traded to the Orioles, did nothing there, went to the Senators, and he got back on track there. 65, 8-8 with a 3.36 ERA in only 158 innings, but that's not terrible. I'll take it. In 66, he went 11-14 with a 3.46 ERA in 216 innings. In those 2 seasons, he pitched a combined 11 complete games. In the 66 offseason, he was traded back to the Giants and had his best season. He went 22-10 with a 2.85 ERA, pitched 14 complete games in over 262 innings. Those 22 wins led Major League Baseball, and he won the NL Cy Young Award and finished 6th in MVP voting that year. Got more votes than any other pitcher that year. And he followed that up with a couple other good seasons for the Giants. 68, he went 12-14 with a 3.58 ERA, 9 complete games in a little under 200 innings. And in 69, very similar stats. He went 11-9 with a 3.34 ERA, pitched 9 complete games and just under 200 innings. His success wouldn't carry over into the next decade, though. He was terrible with the Giants in 1970, was traded to the Yankees, did nothing there, signed with the Royals, did nothing there, and he retired when he was 32 years old. But he had a great sense of humor. He hit the 500th home run by an MLB pitcher, and I didn't know this. He also gave up Hank Aaron's 500th home run. Because of that, he had the license plate Mr. 500. That's hysterical. Great sense of humor. His Cy Young plaque was damaged in the 89 earthquake in Loma Prieta. He was going to get it repaired, but he didn't want to because now it had character. Really funny guy. He didn't let his lack of longevity stand in the way of his sense of humor. I absolutely love that. He was suffering for a while from Parkinson's, and he died at the age of 81. May he rest in peace. Tomorrow, who knows what the future's going to hold? Maybe the latest sports news, maybe the trifecta, maybe a little bit of both. I have no idea. What I do know is that I am Jacob Valk saying candy bars don't have mustard.